set the stage. We're looking at a $450 million PE Portco, where you have come in and been asked to do some analysis on what's going on with this particular company. And what has already happened is we connected to the data using a one-click connect through the common CRM systems, in this case, Salesforce. And we've also done a calibration that takes approximately 1 hour, which looks at 3 specific questions. What are the top line numbers? How's the rep team organized? And are there any relevant CRM customizations? So when we have done that, we are ready to start working with this data. And the first thing we want to do is to get trust in the data. And this is typically a very common problem. If you just get the data raw, let's say that you got an Excel sheet, right? Here you find 1 million leads. You see a very low conversion rate. The list goes on forever here, and it's just not that useful for you to do any type of analysis if you're trying to analyze what's going on at the top of the funnel. On the right here, that same data has been organized into deduplicated records of 220,000, a reasonable conversion rate, and now a list that is very easy to understand. And you can see here that one of their biggest expenses, their digital ads program, is delivering very little value for them. So we have immediately unlocked insights into this particular engagement. And this is, again, what the Cien is all about, getting trust into the data. So the way we do that is that you can see here, we've benchmarked this particular company's original CRM data. 0 means problematic, and 100 means perfect. So this company is, like most companies, right there in the middle, right? And on the right here, you can see how we've been able to improve that data on the same scale. So almost all the data has been significantly better, and all of this stuff gives us the ability to do really good propensity models and LLM models at 90% confidence here. And I'm just going to double click in on 1 or 2 to show you how it works. So let's, for example, look at the consistency. This particular company had hundreds of lead sources. We saw that already. Industries that are too many. Countries, 500 countries. There's only 230 in the world because they have United States of America, USA, etc. All of that stuff is taken care of, collapsed. We also look at titles so you can know exactly who you're talking to when you're having a conversation. We also do a lot of stuff related to how you capture activities, whether the sales process is accurate and so forth. It tends to be very problematic in almost all organizations. The end result is that you can now trust the data. And we've also calibrated so we can move on from the data being an issue to let's look at what's actually going on. What are the friction points in this game? So I'm going to go from what we call our ADE report that I was just in to the strategic report. And before I jump in and understand exactly what's going on, let's just look at, what's been happening with this company. 27% CAGR year over year. That looks great. This was why the PE company was buying it, but there's a time bomb here. You can see here the new business is actually declining year over year here. So almost all of it is repeat business. And if that new business declines further and churn increases, the company will stop growing. And the great investment that the PE folks did will essentially be much, much less valuable. And we can dig in here on some of the various things that have been able to increase their deal sizes. So that's part of the saving grace right now. That can't go on forever. Before we do that, let's just jump into a high-level overview. We call this the heat map. So essentially, think about this across 5 different growth categories. Number 1, segmentation and SAM. Number 2, sales and marketing alignment. Number 3, new logo selling. Number 4, existing customer selling. And number 5, rep performance. And you can see here, not surprisingly, that there's a lot of red in that new logo section, just like we saw a second ago, right? And before we jump in and look at some of the problems, let's look at something that is actually working. Like, for example, their targeting of accounts. So we can go in here to segmentation by industry, for example. We're using some of the technology that we've just touched on before, how we have improved the data quality, we have standardized the industries. But we also have 2 other things. We have our propensity models, which industries are more likely to buy. You can see this banking, finance, telecom, tech, and so forth. And consumer goods and healthcare are less likely to buy, right? And here on the right, you can see how much time they spend. So with this little outlier here on media communication, they tend to spend more time on the ones that are more productive. They understand what industries to focus on. That's a good thing. Let's look at something that is not so good. So here is essentially the 3 seller roles that are selling a lot. And you can see the productivity here. Only one of them is going after new business. These are the hunters, the account executives. But only a small portion of it is actually hunting. And if we double click in here, we can see why. Sorry, that was wrong. You can see here, first and foremost, that there's a lot of underperformance in this role, and also that most of their time, the blue here, if you look here on the bottom, is spent on existing customers. So all of this stuff means that they're essentially neglecting their existing customers, their new logo, their hunting behavior. And here are all the details on exactly what's going on. And whenever you're looking at our product, you can see here these AI scores. We call it peek inside. So you can actually peek inside AI model that used to be a black box. You can see that we have good time data, we have good performance tiers and other things. That means essentially that you can trust this data. Anytime you see something that is red, then, so for example, the time data for 2023, this needs to be taken with a grain of salt. So very, very transparent. Let's go in one more step and look at, our tactical report. We can look, for example, a little bit at win-loss analysis. What's causing and if you're just looking at the new business, for example, new business here, we can see that they won 156 deals in this period, and they lost a lot more. So like very low win rate, right? Difference in propensity models is significant. So they essentially, if we go back to better deals, the propensity models, we have the ability to show them how to focus. We see that they're spending a lot more time on the on the winning deals. That's good. And here you can see that the engagement from the customers when they're, this is engagement percentage here, is much higher. And when managers are involved, you're winning more. So very, very detailed information. An example of a deal that they won here on the right. You can just look at all the different deals if you want to dig in. Even more information could be, for example, what are the factors that are making a deal won? We have something called buckets. And again, it's based on the propensity models. So here are some of the factors, company size and so forth. So here's an interesting one, step subtype. So we are essentially looking at every deal and looking at essentially, was it a retry of a deal? Yeah, that's a big one. And was it a beachhead? In other words, trying just to get a small deal. That doesn't seem to be helping here. So that strategy should probably be abandoned because it can just as well go for a new big deal, right? So all of these things are essentially insights that are allowing you to drive very rapid growth in an organization and a lot of value. And then what's unique about our product also is that it's a data product. So you can essentially do it as a leave behind. So we've just right now talked about how we can do this stuff within your cloud in a few days, getting these types of insights, but you could also take this stuff and give it to the customer and have it run in their cloud as an implementation project. And in that case, you have the same tools that they have with many of the new insights and so forth. So you can essentially see, for example, their open pipeline, or in this particular case, we can go in and look at, just all the reps and see where their over and underperformers are. And here you have all the details down to the individual level, exactly who's underperforming, exactly what their stats are, and you can double click in here and see. So you're going from a company that is lost, that does not have insight into their data, don't know where the friction points are, and don't know what's going on, to having very, very detailed information about exactly number of calls, what's going on, and trust in that data. So this is what Cien delivers within a few business days for a portco like this, and for you guys over and over again, building a business that can be extremely profitable because it's all automated. So I'll stop there.